超越时空，活在未来。
Transcending time and space by living in the future. Jiefeng. June 16, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Man is life. Life is a non-material structure with spirituality. The core component of life is consciousness. For consciousness, there is no question of reality and illusion, no question of time and space, and no question of past and future. Reality and illusion, time and space, are a problem that stubbornly exist in human perception. For life itself, these problems do not exist. The essence of life is perception and experience. Without perception and experience, there is no life. In other words, life without perception and experience does not exist. As far as perception and experience are concerned, there is no difference between dreams and reality. There is no difference between playing games online and directly participating in games. There is no difference between virtual and real situations. There is no difference between a face-to-face chat and a dream chat. There is no difference between recalling the past and looking forward to the future. And there is no difference between concrete practice and imaginative practice. For example, in the illusory scene of dreams, what we perceive and experience in dreams is the same as what we perceive and experience in reality. So long as it is perception and experience for life itself, there is no problem with the illusion of reality, no problem of past, present, and future. Human cognition can never go beyond reality, time, and space. This is the limitation of human cognition. This limitation restricts our thinking to four-dimensional time and space, so that we cannot break through the shackles of reality, time, and space. The sayings and viewpoints of living in the present are the most typical examples of cognition and thinking fettered by reality, time, and space. In other words, the cognition and understanding of living in the present is purely human thinking. It is not the cognition and thinking of lives higher than human beings. Now let's discuss the feasibility of transcending time and space from human cognition. What has happened is called the past or history. What is happening is called the present or now. What is going to happen is called the future or the time to come. Now let's make a choice. Would you like to live in the past, in the present, or in the future? For those who have had a good past, they want to live in the past, but also look forward to the future. For people who have had a painful past, they do not want to live in the past. So, how many people are willing to live in the present? Except for those who are enjoying life at this moment, most people are willing to live in the future, because the future has not yet happened, and they can look forward to a happy situation. The main point of this article is that now is the most difficult time for life. Food, clothing, shelter, transportation, birth, aging, sickness, and death have brought enough worry to people. Electricity bills, water fees, internet fees, gas fees, fuel fees, transportation fees, vehicle, house etc. repair costs, house rent, and land tax have given people enough to be anxious about. The giving of presents between people is annoying enough, personal safety is also worrisome, and the natural disasters and causal disasters that occur anytime and anywhere are heartrending. Therefore, living in this moment is the most troublesome and painful experience. Since life lies in perception and experience, it is wise to consciously avoid and escape the current situation of confusion and sorrow. There is a sad reality that we have to face. Nearly 1 million people commit suicide every year around the world. Millions of people attempt suicide. Hundreds of millions of people have thought of suicide. Why do they commit suicide? Because the present is too bitter. There is no hope, no turning point, no bright future, so they just choose to commit suicide. This is the life tragedy of those who live in the moment. Now let's envision that if a person in such current distress knows that he will receive 1 million yuan tomorrow, or will encounter a noble person who will bring himself out of a real tragic situation, or the world will be reversed and his sorrow will end soon, or he gets to know in a few years that he will turn the situation around and become successful, or knows that he will enjoy a wonderful life in the endless heaven in the future. Then will he commit suicide? Of course not. Not only will he not commit suicide, but he will live happily every day. This means that letting the consciousness live in the future makes life better than living in the present. Therefore, allow yourself to live in the future and imagine that in the future you can live in the new oasis for life created by Life Genuine. Imagine that you are living in the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, the celestial islands continent. In this way, your current misery will be alleviated. No matter how hard or difficult it is, you will survive it. Your current troubles and pains will disappear into smoke and clouds, and all worries and fears will be just illusions in front of you. Hence, you will feel that every day is interesting to live, just like playing games, and even if death comes, you will be fearless and even accept it with joy. This is the way to transcend time and space. We must know that the future is created by visualized thinking. The essence of life is perception and experience. In this case, living in a beautiful future is more meaningful and valuable than living in the present. One of the mysteries of life is that perception and experience determine the taste and state of life. That being the case, why bother letting the consciousness experience a miserable moment? Why not let the consciousness experience a bright future? Anyway, consciousness does not distinguish between reality and illusion. Everything we experience is the essential attribute of life.
《人类最佳出路：改变传统的生产和生活模式》。
The best way forward for mankind: changing the traditional production and life mode. Jiefeng. February 1, 2023. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. With the development of human beings today, there are many chronic diseases that cannot be cured by the traditional production and life mode. More than 7 billion people are living on the earth and consume a large amount of resources every day, and consumption has exceeded the regeneration capacity of the earth. Rapid advances in science and technology can develop new types of energy and save resources, but ultimately, it is a drop in the bucket and cannot solve the crisis that we are facing. The chronic diseases of the entire human society are as follows. 1. Resource consumption exceeds regeneration capacity. Everyone is a consumer of resources, not a creator of resources. In the long run, the depletion of resources is an inevitable reality, and this problem cannot be solved by relying on the traditional production and life mode. 2. The waste of resources. A large part of what people use in food, clothing, housing, transportation, birth, old age, sickness, and death today is extravagant and unnecessary. This problem cannot be solved by legal and moral teachings. It can only be solved by changing the traditional production and life mode. 3. Official corruption and a slothful government. There are always contradictions between officials and the people. This problem has not been resolved for thousands of years. The problem is that the traditional production and life mode are fertile soil for corruption. If the traditional production and life mode do not change, the corruption of officials and government sloth cannot be eliminated. 4. Conflicts between ethnic groups and between countries. The competition and conflicts between different ethnic groups and nations, which are caused by resource competition and ideological differences, have never been resolved in history. If these conflicts cannot be resolved, huge military expenditures will not be reduced, and wars will be inevitable. The huge damage that this causes to society cannot be avoided. The only measure to solve this chronic disease lies in changing the traditional production and life mode of human beings. 5. The gap between the rich and the poor. Due to everyone's different talents and the efforts that different people make, it is natural and normal for people to have a wealth gap between them. However, if the gap between rich and poor becomes too large, conflicts will form. The most effective way to alleviate this conflict is not legal and moral teaching, not to mention administrative orders and taxation, but to change the traditional mode of production and life. 6. The magic of money. With money as a medium of exchange, its value and function cannot be questioned and underestimated. However, when people regard the pursuit of money as the primary motivation and purpose of survival and life, social turmoil and personal troubles and pains will be the result. How can the magic of money be eliminated? Only by changing the traditional mode of production and life. 7. The loss of integrity. The more there are people, the fewer the resources, the more intense the competition will be, and the lower the integrity of people will be. With the loss of integrity, the cost of communication between people, countries, and special interest groups will increase infinitely. This is not only detrimental to the welfare of all the people, but also detrimental to resource conservation and social stability. How can this problem be solved? Legal and moral constraints cannot play a major role, so it can only be solved by changing the traditional mode of production and life. 8. The disadvantages of government planning and a market economy. Facts have proved that the government's plan will take care of one thing, and overlook another will lead to the impoverishment of the people. The market economy is like the law of the jungle, which will lead to the weak becoming the prey to the strong, which is not the ideal state of human life. I have thought about many options of how to make the world favorable and harmonious, and for the people to live and work in peace and contentment. Finally, it has been found that the best plan is to replace the traditional way of production and life with the new way of production and life. So, what kind of mode is the new human production and life mode? In a word, it is a full replication and copy of the production and life mode of the 1,000-year world of the kingdom of heaven. The model of this new mode of production and life on earth is the production and life mode of the second home created by Life Genuine. A brief summary of this new mode is, human beings will no longer enter the institution of marriage and family, but enter the program of the second home. Countries will disintegrate, there will be global cooperation and resource sharing, the scale of population growth will become lower than the regeneration capacity of the Earth's resources, and people will flow around the world designedly, allowing everyone to reach the state of life in the kingdom of heaven, where everyone owns nothing, yet owns everything. This is not a dream, but a summary of the successful experience that has been practiced on the earth for 15 years. May every citizen of the earth get to know, think, and practice it.
人类最高级文明内涵
The connotation of the highest level of human civilization. Deiform Buddha. May 2, 2023. Edited by Peter. When human civilization enters the most advanced stage, there will be no laws, no countries, no currency, no marriage and family, and no forms of identification such as ID cards, passports, driver's licenses, work permits, medical licenses, judge certification, professor certification, and so on, and there will be no various types of business licenses. Readers may think that this is impossible. Without laws, without countries, without any identification, the whole human society will become chaotic. For example, if there are no driver's licenses, people who don't understand traffic rules will also drive on the road and will inevitably cause traffic accidents. I want to say that we cannot imagine the form and operating mode of the highest level of human civilization society with the current consciousness and living environment of people, but we can imagine that when everyone is selfless and exudes the nature of truth, goodness, beauty, love, sincerity, and trust from within, all the disputes in the world will be melted away. The unskilled driver will not drive on the road because he loves others more than he loves himself. Perhaps some readers may think that people cannot completely achieve unselfishness and selflessness, but in fact, when the traditional production and life mode of society will be replaced by the second home mode, people will find that the more unselfish and selfless they are, the more they will enjoy the joy and beauty of life and life to the greatest extent. We have proven this through 14 years of this production and life mode in practice. Without countries, laws, and marriage and family, will everything become chaotic? No, when we emulate the 1,000-year world mode, we will find that the higher the degree of freedom, the more civilized people will become. The more restrictions and constraints, the more people's selfishness, greed, and opportunism will be stimulated. Moreover, when tens of millions of second homes are born on the earth, people will choose to enter these homes to live in, and all the homes will operate according to universal values and the way of nature. All people on earth will become members of this big family of homes, and no matter what they do, whether it is power generation, farming, clothing production, education of children, shepherding on the grassland, or technological innovation in the laboratory, people from all walks of life will become members of the earth family. Without currency and private property, everyone will freely use their intelligence and talents, and all the issues of food, clothing, housing, transportation, aging, and death will be resolved by this big family. No one would want to keep currency or have private property. Each second home has 30 to 300 members, and each member rotates to work and live in another home for 3 years. When people around the world start to flow freely, there will be no more national, party, religious, or cultural barriers, and any turmoil and war will no longer occur. Hunger will also disappear, and the probability of theft, robbery, corruption, fraud, and deception will become negligible. I am very sure that everyone must have 100,000 questions in their hearts about this, but I can tell you that I have thought of all the problems you are worried about, and I know the solutions. I can also tell you accurately that no one's thinking in the world today is deeper than mine, and no one's solution to solving problems is superior to mine. Even if the Eastern saint that everyone is looking forward to comes, it will not surpass my theory and practice. Humanity has only one bright future ahead, which is to follow what I say, because no matter how intelligent a person may be, they cannot escape the 36-8 diagram arrays. Only by following the path I guide you on can we have the most wonderful future.
一球64智论人类生存模式
One Earth 64 Systems. On the Mode of Human Survival. Jiefeng. April 13, 2021. Edited by Qin Yu. Inspired by the concept One Country, Three Systems of Mr. Li Liangbin, who is from Jianxi Province, let us explore the future mode of human survival. The most ideal life mode for humanity in the future is the Jiefeng-style communism. However, before that, we can implement the One Earth 64 systems as a transitional mode. The so-called One Earth 64 systems implies that there can exist 64 different life modes on Earth. Let's examine the following scenario. In a circle, there are cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese. Due to their different habits, food preferences, and physical characteristics, conflicts, arguments, and fights often arise between them. Chickens, ducks, and geese often complain that sheep, pigs, and dogs trampled on their eggs. Sheep, pigs, and dogs frequently lament that cows, horses, and donkeys snatch their food. Cows, horses, and donkeys often grumble about chickens, ducks, and geese defecating in their feeding troughs. All the animals blame each other for excessive flatulence, making it unbearable for anyone. As a result, no one is leading a good life, and it becomes impossible to live under such circumstances. To solve the above problems, moral education is futile and ineffective. The best approach is to separate them and provide each animal with its own enclosed space, corresponding to their species. This way, we can avoid mutual complaints and torment. The human species has some similarities to the livestock mentioned above. Some people prefer the capitalist way of life, while others prefer the primitive tribal lifestyle, socialism, communism, anarchism, democracy, dictatorship, rice, noodles, meat-based diets, vegetarian diets, monogamy, polygamy, or polyandry. The list goes on. When individuals with diverse preferences are forced into the same mode, conflicts, arguments, and even physical fights are unavoidable. The way to eliminate contradictions and conflicts among individuals is to allow them to live in their respective spheres, where they can find peace and happiness. Therefore, my idea is the One Earth 64 systems approach. For example, all white people could gather in Europe, black people in Africa, and yellow people in Asia. This would eliminate racial discrimination. Those who prefer the capitalist system could come together to engage in capitalism, while those who prefer the socialist system could come together to practice socialism, and those who prefer the communist system could come together to pursue communism. Similarly, those who embrace Christianity could gather in one place, those who follow Islam could gather in another place, and those who practice Buddhism could gather in yet another place, and so on. Likewise, those who enjoy noodles could eat noodles, those who prefer rice could eat rice, those who enjoy meat-based diets could come together, and those who prefer vegetarian diets could gather as well. Those who prefer monogamy could form their own society, those who prefer polygamy or polyandry could form their own society, and those who advocate for a society without marriage could form their own community for shared relationships. In this way, just like providing separate spaces for cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese, humans no longer need to argue and fight with each other due to differences in personality, interests, and so on. Why 64 systems? Because human survival requires 64 elements, and none can be omitted. Do you see it? Cows, horses, donkeys, sheep, pigs, dogs, chickens, ducks, and geese are arguing together without any value or meaning, and their arguments will never end. Arguments between humans are also without value or meaning. The best solution is to live our own lives according to our own preferences. Can the above ideals be realized? Certainly not, because those in power won't allow it. Therefore, this proposal is only meant to bring some amusement to everyone when they have enough to eat and drink and have nothing else to do.
絮叨人生
A Ramble About Life. Jiefeng. May 23, 2018. Translated by Qin Yu and edited by Peter. Rambling is chatting. Chatting can be endless, free from rules and regulations, letting one's thoughts float in the wind, aimlessly like mature dandelion seeds. Everyone encounters two doors every day. One door leads to heaven and the other leads to hell. Whether you go to heaven or to hell depends entirely on how you treat people and things. If you treat them right, your path ahead will be bright and full of flowers, and if you treat them wrong, your path ahead will be full of mud, and you can only trudge along. Every day in life we are taking exams. What we should do and how to do it is the exam. The examiner is the greatest creator. Our ultimate destination is decided by the accumulated daily exam results. With excellent results, there is no doubt we will go to heaven. With poor results, there is no doubt we will go to hell. Every day in life, we can have the good fortune of meeting angels. In everyday life, we always deal with people. Even the person we meet in the WeChat group might be an angel. If we treat angels kindly and sincerely, our lives might turn around and we may get to know the secrets of life. If we treat angels badly, we may miss a good connection and a good future. Everyone's outcome is an accumulation of his lifetime's thoughts and behavior. Do not take the chance and think that if you hurt a person or life you will not be punished. It is impossible. Punishment is bound to come. Even if we once ridiculed someone, even if we once gave someone a contemptuous look, even if we once humiliated someone with vulgar language, punishment would inevitably come. Some punishments are obvious, but most of the punishments are without a trace. It just happens without our noticing of it. For example, we should have eaten ginseng fruit, but in fact we got sour plums. We should have done something smoothly, but in fact we encountered obstacles and resistance. To analyze and judge a phenomenon, three basic factors need to be considered. One is affection, one is reason, and one is nature. Some phenomena conform to affection but not reason and nature. Some phenomena conform to reason but not affection and nature. And some phenomena conform to nature but not affection and reason. Some unreasonable phenomena are in line with affection and nature. Some ruthless phenomena are in line with reason and nature. And some phenomena that are neither in line with reason nor affection but are in line with nature. Therefore, it is best not to judge any phenomenon in life. It is easy to misjudge and cause harm unless we take everything into consideration, that are the three factors: affection, reason, and nature. Last year I went to Vanuatu, the Pacific Island country, and chatted with Mr. Stephen, the person in charge of Eden of the East. He said that people should be vegetarian instead of meat eaters. I asked, can't we eat pork? He said we shouldn't. I said that everything has its value of existence, so what is the value of existence of pigs? He told me a lot and it made sense, but I explained my understanding to him. I said that balance is a law of the universe. This law conforms to the law that the sum of positive and negative energies is zero. Its basic principle is that it rises here but falls there, it increases here but decreases there, it gains here but loses there, and it strengthens here but weakens there. For example, if a person's words hurt many people, the balance of it will be that he can no longer talk. If a person takes advantage of the world, he will definitely be balanced by paying the price for this. If a person owes someone a debt, it will be balanced by his repaying the debt. If a person cruelly killed another life, it will definitely be balanced by the giving of his own life. In this sense, a pig must be the reincarnation of a certain person as a result of his words bringing too much hurt to others. He took too much advantage of others, he owed too much debt, and cruelly killed a certain life. Only by reincarnating as a pig and paying with his own hair, bones, blood, flesh and life can he balance the debts he owed in his previous life. In this sense, eating meat is a kind of benevolence and not eating meat is cruel. Why do I say so? When a person owes a debt, he will be reincarnated as a pig to repay. If you do not eat his meat, that means that he is not allowed to repay his debts, and he has to continue to carry his debts and reincarnate again and again in the livestock world. This is a bit cruel. But if you eat his meat, it lets him repay his debts and leave behind his reincarnation in the pig world and return to the human world as a human being. Isn't it a good deed? There are endless truths that people need to learn and understand in their lives. There is a deep understanding that I want to share with everyone. This is to never hurt anyone in your life. Do not hurt with words nor with deeds, eyes, mouth, hands, feet, or thoughts. Even if others hurt you, you must never deal with a man as he deals with you. Just say good words, as many as you like, and never say anything bad. Once you do, it will become sin, and it will be too late to remedy. Fish are in the water, people are in the Tao, and the operation and changes of all phenomena and things in the world are in the Tao, and there are no people or things that should be wronged. Feeling being wronged is because of your not understanding cause and effect. If you understand the law of cause and effect, you will know that everything is appropriate. It is really divine punishments, though slow, are always sure. With big meshes yet letting nothing slip through. Therefore, if others hurt you, they will be handed over to the Tao's handling and arrangement. We ourselves will never hurt people, will never hurt anyone.
失业大学生们的锦绣之路。
The Splendid Path of Unemployed College Students. Jiefeng. April 25, 2023. Edited by Qin. Happiness. Misery lurks beneath it, misery. Happiness is to be found by its side. What I see is a bright future awaiting unemployed college students, a wonderful life that is incomparable. This is what I think, and I hope respected and dear unemployed college students can consider whether it makes sense. At this moment, you may be in a state of confusion, anxiety, uncertainty, restlessness, and disappointment. This is because you are carried along by the tides of the times. If you try to catch up with the tide or let others determine your fate, you will find yourselves in a sea of suffering. Not to mention reaching the other shore, you won't even be able to see where it is. First of all, you should understand that it is not your fault, nor your parents' fault, nor the fault of your school teachers and professors that you are unable to find a job. It is the fault of the times. Just like the blooming flowers wither in the spring, it is not the fault of the flowers but the result of a cold spell. You may be inspired by another form of success studies, such as how to make a comeback, how to escape from the lower class, how to cross social barriers, and so on. I want to say that such motivation will only make your situation more difficult and miserable. Don't aspire to be superior to others, don't aim to live a life that others envy, don't expect to achieve financial freedom quickly, and don't anticipate starting your own business. These thoughts and actions are poison to life, and will make everyone's existence even more unbearable. In front of you lies a life adorned with beautiful flowers. Endless is the sea of bitterness. Repent and you will find the shore. How do you repent? How do you reach the paradise-like shore of life? 1. Once your roots establish yourself, the way will grow therefrom and the way will guide you. Only seek to serve more people without desiring to earn more money. Reduce your material desires to the minimum. Live in a thatched hut, wear patched clothes, eat simple food, drink plain water. Refuse all luxury goods. If necessary, you can beg. Regard yourself as the most ordinary blade of grass in nature. Don't pursue romantic relationships, don't get married, don't start a family. Concentrate your efforts on establishing a foundation. 2. Inheriting the wisdom of the past, creating everlasting peace. Listen to the teachings of Jesus Christ, respect the Dharma of Shakyamuni Buddha, embrace the spirit of the Prophet Muhammad, and adopt the thoughts of the Taoist Saint Laozi. Regardless of how dark the world becomes, how fickle people's hearts are, how bleak the future appears, and how others may comment, dedicate yourself to unifying the world and ensuring the well-being of all people, allowing everyone to enjoy the blessings of life. Strive to make everyone possess everything while having nothing, and work hard to provide everyone with a means of livelihood. 3. Regard labor as the foremost necessity of life. Adhere to this principle. The image of laborers is the most beautiful. Labor is the source of joy and happiness. Laborers possess the finest qualities. Engage in diligent work every day, create, and never allow yourself to be idle. Abandon laziness, abandon getting something for nothing, abandon seeking comfort and despising hard work, and abandon seeking quick gains. Sing the praises of all laborers in the world. 4. Embrace unconventional thinking and indulge in wild imagination. Reversion is the action of the Tao. When the majority moves west, quickly move east. When the majority flock to the cities, quickly go to the countryside. When the majority prioritizes pragmatism, quickly prioritizes ideology. Whatever the majority criticize, quickly sing its praises, and vice versa. Distance yourself from money, power, fame, and profit, including distancing yourself from the wealthy, influential, famous, and powerful. Get closer to the most ordinary and common laboring masses. Reverse all the perspectives on life, values, worldview, outlook on life, and moral outlook that human society has established, and establish anew the 5 outlooks necessary for the highest level of civilized society. Then you will discover the scenery of, just as the weary traveler despairs of finding a road, lo, a village appears and the shade of willows and riotous flowers beckon. The path has been paved for you, and the future is definitely more beautiful than you imagine. If you find my words reasonable, follow the path I have laid out. If you think I am talking nonsense and misleading you, then continue the path you believe to be